teeth. China looked at sea control and decided to redraw the risk map from land. Anti-access area denial, A2AD, is their play. Build layered kill zones that push US ships back so far the air wing can't reach the fight. Here's where it gets interesting. This isn't just more missiles. It's geometry, sensors, and timing tuned to erase your reaction window. Start with range. The PLA rocket force fields ballistic missiles designed to hit moving ships at sea. Carrier killers is the nickname because that's the point. Think coverage arcs out to rough 2,000 miles from the coast when you blend systems and cues. Now add hypersonic glide vehicles and fast, sea-skimming cruise missiles. Hypersonics don't just fly fast. They shrink your decide-shoot loop from minutes to heartbeats. They maneuver. They complicate your intercept math. And they ride a sensor web, over-the-horizon radars, satellites sniffing radio chatter and heat, aircraft and drones relaying tracks. So a surface group can be found, fixed, and fed into firing solutions at machine speed. Here's the crazy part: the aim isn't always to sink you, it's to make you stay out. If a carrier has to sit beyond that arc, its jets lose time on station or can't even touch the objective without risky refueling chains. That blunts presence, it blunts politics. It tells allies, we can make your backstop blink. And it turns the old question, where are the carriers, into a trap. If they're close, they're targetable. If they're far, they're late. So the doctrine pivots. Project Overmatch is the Navy's bet that a network can outthink a salvo's speed. Connect sensors across air, sea, space, subsurface, and marines ashore. Fuse data, let algorithms sort threats. Hand off shots to whoever's best placed. A destroyer might fire on a target, a P-8 maritime patrol plane found using a cue from a satellite the task group never sees. Cooperative engagement capability made this possible in pieces. Overmatch tries to scale it and accelerate it. The goal is simple: see first, decide first, shoot first, even if your magazines aren't on the ship that saw the threat. But wait, there's more. The fleet's shape changes too. Distributed maritime operations pulls the crown off the single queen. Instead of huddling a strike group and begging an enemy to take $1 billion swing, you scatter many nodes over one jewel. Small teams of ships, literal units, and even marines on island chains light up and go dark, radiating in patterns that force an opponent to guess. You feed them decoys. You hide your heavies. You make every radar blip a question mark. And your undersea force slips inside the bubble anyway, because physics still favors quiet at depth. Micro-story: a destroyer alone on a black Pacific night runs EMCON. No lights, minimal emissions. The CIC watches only passive gear, while a marine unit on a speck of rock, 200 miles away, quietly pushes a coastal radar sweep into the net. A P-8 clips the edge of a no-go zone and drops a sonar buoy line. A satellite pass 5 minutes ago flagged a heat bloom that looked like a mobile launcher conv. The system stitches it, probable TELs, moving east, guarded by a corvette screen. The destroyer never lights up, but its vertical launch cells get the tasking. Somewhere else, an unmanned surface vessel starts chattering deliberately, bait. Here's the thing: deception becomes presence. The pattern of life you present is a lie on purpose. You want the other side to spend ISR, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, on phantoms, to waste precious long-range shots on cheap nodes, to believe your crown jewel is somewhere it's not. The carriers still matter, but the pulse in and out, using weather, emissions control, and timing to appear for a punch, and fade behind a moving web of screens, subs, and drones. Hypersonics still cut deep though. Reaction time is physics, so you buy time a different way, disaggregate signatures, push hard kill and soft kill layers forward, and pre-bake engagement rules into the network so a human approves a kill chain that the system built in seconds. Lasers and high-power microwaves start showing up as close encounters. Electronic warfare jams seekers. Decoys inflate radar images. And your magazines diversify. SM-6 for speed and reach, ESSM for swarms, newer interceptors for exotic flight paths. Get ready for this. None of it works without logistics keeping the mesh fed. Distributed nodes need fuel, missiles, and parts in more places, on tighter timelines, under more threat. That's why sustainers practice split ops under air cover and escorts track oiler routes like crown jewels. A2AD tries to choke your arteries. You answer by growing more capillaries and hiding them. And allies stretch the map around the bubble's edges. Access in Japan, the Philippines, and Singapore creates angles. AUKUS boats from Perth press flanks under the waterline. Combined patrols complicate targeting pictures because a coalition radar isn't a single signature. The message to markets and ministries is quiet but clear. The map can fight back, and so can we by making the ocean bigger, the targets smaller, and the timeline ours again. The numbers game, Replicator and the drones swarm. Here's where it gets interesting. The cost curve finally flips. For years, the exchange was awful. Cheap drones forcing million-dollar shots, finite magazines drained by throwaway threats. The Replicator initiative is the answer baked into doctrine. Flood the battlespace with small, smart, mostly autonomous systems across air, sea, and undersea, and make attrition affordable for us, not them. Get ready for this. Numbers aren't just mass. They're sensors, decoys, and shooters that don't need a bunk or a tour length. On the surface, unmanned surface vessels stretch the fleet's eyes and hands. Picture a sleek, 40 to 80-foot hull with a radar mast, EO/IR turret, and data links, riding low and fast. Some carry passive sensors that listen for emissions. Others tug-towed arrays to sniff for submarines. The future variants get vertical cells or box launchers, small payloads, sure, but dangerous in a pack. And here's the thing, you can park 10 of them along a choke line for the price of babysitting a single-manned ship's crew for a year. But wait, there's more. Drone boats complicate targeting in ways a spreadsheet can't capture. An adversary staring at a sea cluttered with 20 low signatures can't be sure which one carries a missile, which is a sensor, and which is a decoy pretending to be both. Fire at all of them, and you've emptied magazines on hardware priced like pickup trucks. Hold fire, and you risk letting a wolf into the herd. Either way, the exchange leans our way. Under the waves, the Orca XL UUV changes the tempo. It's not a toy, think a small submarine without people, built to cruise for weeks along preplanned routes, drop smart mines, or park on the seabed and listen. Mines sound old school until you realize the new ones think. They can sit cold, wake on a specific signature, and deny a harbor or a strait without a single missile fired. You don't force a carrier into an A2AD bubble. You send Orca to make the bubble leak from the inside. Micro story, a merchant captain off Surigao Strait squints at dawn. On AIS, 3 unknowns, all tiny, all steady. He can't see them yet. His charterer pings, calm voice, coalition pickets are ahead, proceed. Those aren't pickets like he imagines, no steel decks, no sailors on rails. They're USVs, nose cameras blinking, relaying tracks to a destroyer hull 50 miles away, which is itself dark and quiet. Insurance doesn't care who's on the bridge wing. It cares that the lane stays open. The drones are enough to keep the quote. Now tie it to distributed maritime operations. A mesh of nodes works only if you can seed the gaps with cheap persistence. USVs hold picket lines, sprint to probe a radar blip, or run bait patterns to drag enemy sensors and missiles away from manned hulls. UAVs, long-dwell Group 3 birds with EO/IR and small radars, circle silent above those boats, turning their feeds into a stitched, stable picture. A P-8 clips the top, sprinkles buoys, and hands the problem to the net. The carrier doesn't need to radiate, the net sees for it. Here's the crazy part, the magazine math transforms. Today, a $2 million missile at a $13 billion carrier is a great trade for the attacker. Tomorrow, a $2 million missile at a $2 million drone boat is a wash. And if the attacker sends a $20,000 loitering munition at a $50,000 decoy skiff, fine, we'll build more skiffs. The point is to pull expensive arrows into cheap targets while saving our expensive shields for the shots that matter. Lasers and microwaves start to help here, cheap per shot, perfect for shredding small swarms close in, fed by ship power instead of magazines. But hold on, the value isn't only in trading losses. It's tempo. Autonomous craft don't get tired. They can ride bad weather, reposition by the dozen, and hold a picket through the night while crews sleep on the big decks. They warp the opponent's ISR budget. If you flood a strait with 30 unpredictable nodes, you force the other side to spend more drones, more satellites, more pilots, and more attention just to classify what's out there. Classification time is life in a missile fight. Allies multiply this fast. Australia tests USV constellations with US software. Japan's ports host tenders that can grab a line of small boats, refuel them, swap sensor masts, and push them back out. The Philippines offers sheltered coves where Marines stage expeditionary advanced base kits. literal radars, pickup-mounted missiles, and charging tents for UAVs to feed the same network. AUKUS tech ties the software stack together so a drone built in Perth can speak to a sensor in Okinawa and a shooter off Palawan without anyone yelling on the radio. Now the caveats, because nothing's free. Autonomy invites jamming and spoofing. You harden links, teach behaviors that default to safe modes, and set rules so a compromised node can't poison the whole net. Maintenance doesn't vanish, it downsizes and disperses. You need spare props, seals, batteries, and repair tents close to the waterline. And you still escort the sustainers because the oiler feeding your drone fleet is as precious as ever. Plot twist, drones don't replace carriers, they make carriers fickle and sharp. The queen still matters, but pawns flood the board, blunting the other side's bishops. Presence becomes a pattern you can't parse. Price that if you're an underwriter. Plan around that if you're a planner. And if you're wondering whether numbers beat range, remember this: the side that can afford to miss the most usually wins. Making the ocean bigger, alliances as multipliers. Here's where it gets interesting. Maps stretch when friends add shoreline.